You're listening to a Galactic Network podcast. For more, go to gncast.com.
We're the ElseNerds.
Hello and welcome to ElseNerds, a production of Galactic Network. I'm Gregor Sprague, and joining me is special guest Justin Zenger from ZengThis. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, not a problem. And real quick before we get into everything, all the goodies, for all info on this show, including show notes and subscription links, go to ElseNerds.com. And for other Galactic Network programs, go to gncast.com. And as a warning on ElseNerds, we tend to shoot our mouths off without thinking, so we will both swear and spoil things. That is your warning. But yeah, so, and for those of you guys who are wondering, Corey is still off on car repair assignment. And Sean had a lot of things to do, so they are both they're both off on assignment. They will have reports next time they are on. So Justin, I mean, or Zenger, it's been good. You know, it's good having you on here, man. I mean, they said, I know Sean, he's been doing all the bookings and stuff, and he goes, "Oh, we're gonna have this guy. He knows stuff about comics." I'm like, "Oh, sweet, someone who actually is reading comic books."
Yes, to a certain extent, yes.
Well,
there's a lot to read.
yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. Because Corey, he used to read comic books, and then he sort of fell behind and quit reading comic books. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'm here. May or may not be paying for all of them, but I'm reading about 40 comic books a week and all that. Yeah, it's
got me beat by about 41 most weeks then.
Well, I started buying comic books mainly because I love my local comic book shop, mm-hmm. and I support them wholeheartedly. So I've been buying, like 7 to 10 issues at a week and all that, and then downloading the rest. But yeah, so I picked some news, and I know you brought some news stories here too. So we're gonna start with yours, and where this is old, I still think it is relevant because of the fact that, I mean, Dwayne Johnson, I believe he is one of the most busiest men in all of Hollywood right now. I think one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid actor. Mm-hmm. And there's, in case you guys have forgot, he's set to star in the Big Trouble in Little China remake.
Yes.
So you can file this under 2 categories: 1, The Rock in everything, and 2, remaking your childhood. Because it hits both of them.
Yeah.
So you brought this up. Is this are you a Rock fan? Is that what's going on? Like
I am a fan of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He is somebody I enjoy watching, and basically, well, I would say, every movie he's in, but I'm pretty sure if you just throw in any movie, he's probably in it somewhere, or TV show at this point now. So that's the reason I saw this. And I'm like, man, like, when does this guy have time to do all the stuff he does?
Oh yeah. Have you? Okay. Also, I will add in this. Have you ever messed with his app, The Rock Clock?
No, I've not messed with the app. I do have, I think, Twitter and Instagram, and he's constantly doing stuff. So I'm like, how do you find time?
Oh no. See, this is where it gets even better.
So I need to download this.
Yeah, the Rock Clock. It's an alarm clock, and I believe I talked about it a while back, like when it first came out. And you can do you can set up your own alarm clocks, or you can wake up on Rock time. So this is when the Rock is going to wake up. And so it's like you like, I was looking, I'm like, fucker's waking up at 3:30 in the morning to probably go work out and all that, because he works out all the time, because I mean, you can't stay that jacked, that big, and not be working out a lot.
I'm installing it right now.
Yeah, I highly recommend waking up to the Rock's time, just getting up there and be like, all right, I'm up, Rock's up now too, do some curls or whatever, back to bed.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's the reason I wanted to bring this up, because I'm like, the guy works out and is constantly in shape, and I'm like, I find an excuse not to go to the gym because I'm like, oh, I don't have time, and I'm like, obviously that is not a valid excuse, because look at him. He's doing multiple TV shows, doing multiple stuff. Apparently, he's going to be running for office.
Yeah,
possibly.
and he's not like he's executive producing shows too.
Yeah.
Like, and he's got the YouTube channel that he's working on. But yeah, so we add in here Big Trouble in Little China, which is an 80s movie that originally starred Kurt Russell. And yeah, and the thing I love about this is the article I'm pulling from is 2 years old when this was announced, because Rock was currently riding high off the success of San Andreas. But he had a quote in here, because a lot of the fans were boo, big, or a remake, another remake, and all that stuff. And he has this quote in here: I loved reading the reactions from fans, that they were so polarized. I'm the same way. My response is, know that I come to the project with nothing but love and respect for the original, which is why we want to bring on John Carpenter. That I think is going to be really cool.
I definitely agree with that. He's also, I mean, of course, he's got Jumanji, which is something else from a lot of people's childhood. Rampage, obviously based on a game. Who knows how that's going to do? There's another Journey movie, and it's From the Earth to the Moon is announced. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at his IMDb. He's still got the Black Adam movie, which who knows how involved that's going to be in the DC universe. Yeah. So I'm just riding that Rock train right now, to be honest, because I mean, I just want to see what else he can do, because I enjoy seeing him in movies. Oh yeah,
not to mention, I mean, he's got the successful HBO series Ballers, which is riding high on its 3rd or 4th season right now, and he's still involved with the WWE. I mean, yeah, he is, he's more part-time and all that stuff, but I mean, he could probably come in at any time he wanted, and pull a Goldberg and do one last time, do another title run.
Yeah, and I can definitely say that.
Yeah, and I don't even think he would have to put himself through such misery that Goldberg did to be only 20 pounds heavier than when he left the WWE during his initial WWE run.
Yeah, he's in better shape than I will ever be in my life. Like, if combined every ounce of in shape I've ever been and ever will be, I'm still not in him at his worst shape.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Easily.
But no, so I look forward to this. I look forward to all this stuff. I mean, I have been a Rock fan. Have you seen the trailer for Jumanji?
Yes. We talked about it on ZengThis a while back. Ellie is my co-host is a huge Rock fan. So I also kind of wanted to bring this story up for her too, because she's really excited about anything he's in. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll make sure to talk about that, because I'm excited because you're excited, sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, I saw the trailer, and at first I was, or not the trailer, the promotional stuff, and I was like, wait, what are they doing? And then seeing that trailer, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this.
Yeah, it's a simple enough concept too.
Yeah, it's simple enough concept. It's doing it to where it is going to honor Robin Williams. It's going to honor the original without just being like, well, here's everything that's going on and all that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Jumanji.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I am too. Ellie actually went to go see Baywatch, and she enjoyed it.
Yeah,
she said she didn't care what the review said. She watched it and liked it.
Yeah, I still have yet to see Baywatch, but that's because my movie marathon going just about every week thing hadn't started until after.
Know what you mean on that one.
Yeah. So the next story, actually, I believe I think I found this one. But this is that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are doing a new sci-fi or new horror comedy called Slaughterhouse Rulez, and Rulez is spelled with a Z because it's awesome. But also on top of that, they have their own production company called Stolen Picture. And they have cast this. They have cast this already. You have so far joining the cast, Michael Sheen from Underworld. I believe it's also Michael Sheen from Masters of Sex. Asa Butterfield, who's from Ender's Game. Hermione Corfield from King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, and Finn Cole from Peaky Blinders and Animal Kingdom have all joined. The movie. And And Cole will be top lining as the movie's young, wide-eyed hero Don Wallace. So this looks really cool. It's okay. I picked this because I love Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm on board for it.
Yeah, I've since Shaun of the Dead, watching everything that them and Edgar Wright have done since then, loved Baby Driver. And even went back and watched Spaced and loved that.
Yeah. I was about to ask if you've seen Spaced or not, because some people have, some people haven't. That one hit me at a really good time. I haven't seen Baby Driver yet.
So good.
I will when it's available on home video. But
Yeah.
actually, I'm gonna admit this, and I'm sorry, everybody. I've never seen At World's End, but I did buy it. I own it. Yeah, I did buy it. I own it. I just need to sit down and watch it.
Oh yeah, it's a solid movie. I mean, it's one of those in the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy.
Mhm.
It is hard to top Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But it is one of those okay, we are, it was a good way to end the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, I wanted to see it, and I thought I owned, someone mentioned it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to watch that. And I've looked, I'm like, I don't own that. I swore I bought it, so I was like, whatever, I'm buying it. I'm gonna watch it because I need to see it. Because I loved Hot Fuzz, I love Shaun of the Dead, I love Space. It all of that hit me at the right time to where I just was on board. I enjoy British humor. I think it's phenomenal most of the time. It's very dry humor a lot of the time, and very kind of upper witty sometimes too. So I enjoy all of that. So I can't wait to see that, and I'm excited about this too because
so
why not?
Let me ask you this: how were you? Are you a fan of the Guardians movies?
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
No, the Gahul, the Owls movie.
No, yeah, big fan. Got a tattoo actually now.
But no, because one thing with reading the Wikipedia page on Baby Driver, one that Edgar Wright had been working on Baby Driver since 1994.
Wow.
So pre-Spaced, probably pre-working with Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and all that. But also because it was coming out, he had it set up now. Edgar Wright sat down with James Gunn so that both movies, because they both have these great soundtracks, but no songs repeat. You can get both you can get both albums, or the vinyl, probably 2-disc vinyl for Guardians Volume 2, and the 4-disc vinyl for Baby Driver, and no songs will be on both. It is a killer soundtrack. I've heard
it's got a great soundtrack too. So if you're into that, out, and I was like, okay. I mean, it kind of passed the in theater moment for me, so that's why I'm waiting.
Yeah, I had seen it later on, and I will also point out, because I didn't mention this in my review, but a good old fuck you to the people behind me who decided to talk and be on their phone throughout the whole fucking movie. But not enough to where I turned around and just been like, shut the fuck up.
I had the same thing happen when we saw Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It was bad, and it was a ton of, not to alienate anybody, but a ton of teenagers. So I was like, it's pointless. And she kept on going. I was like, I'm going to say something. She goes, it's pointless. It really is. And I'm like, no, I'm going to say something. So then I said something to the manager and got free tickets. So
yeah. It was one of those, I kept sitting there going, and I know if I had someone with me, I would have said something. I'd have been like, I'm just like, go with me on this one. Yeah, it's really great that we could see this movie without no one talking, and just do one of those things.
Yeah.
But since I went by myself because my friends wanted to be lame and not go with me, so I'm like, whatever, I'll just ignore him and all that stuff. But I've had that with every movie. There'd be someone behind me or a few rows back talking, but it'd be through the credits.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of normal for the most part, as long as there's not some end scene. I normally hear a lot of people talk.
Or sorry, not credits, through the trailers in the beginning.
That one's a hit or miss in the theaters I normally go to. Like sometimes you have people kind of muttering, but it's nothing that I'm like upset by that, to be honest.
Yeah, and Beats pointing out that I'd probably end up being tossed out. I'd been like, if I go out, they go out with me. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Bring them with me.
But yeah, so back to the story. The Slaughterhouse rules. I mean, this I could see, Finn Cole being, they got the gallery here at the end. And it is Michael Sheen from Masters of Sex, as well. But yeah, this is a great, solid. I think they're all British cast. That they got going on here, and I look forward to this. I will probably cheap plug to one of my co-hosts. I will probably talk about this movie on Podcast of Terror, just because that's our network's horror themed podcast and all that. But yeah, the next one I picked.
Sweet.
So this next one I picked a little bit because it's the big news, but also because you, sir, are a comic book fan, and I wanted to get your opinions on this.
All right.
Netflix purchased Millarworld.
Okay.
So, and also, it seems like as a aside to this, Disney is pulling all their stuff from Netflix to start their own streaming service.
Yeah, I saw that, and like I said, that was a big news thing for me to see that they were going to be. Oh wow, hold on. I was just on the page and I wanted to say something. It kicked me out. No, it's the Netflix thing just kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, didn't that deal like just happen?
Yeah, I
don't even think the ink's dry on the paper yet.
Yeah, it was really weird because they announced it 2 years ago. The Force Awakens was the first movie that would be coming out on Netflix, but it was the other outside the US territories Netflix, because they still had the deals with Stars, and the Stars contract ended like that shortly after The Force Awakens came out, for the first run in the TV spectrum side of things. And then so it's like, and then they announced this, but it sounds like with how the Netflix deal is going to go on the Disney side, the Marvel stuff, like the Marvel originals, Luke Cage and all that stuff, are probably still going to be there, because I
can't see them moving. I can't. It would be a big to do if they did that.
Yeah. And then also we should point out, because Mark Millar is the co-creator of Millarworld with him and his wife, that he has basically he uses the comic book publishers to do these stories that he does with the artists, and they're great stories. Movies like Kick-Ass, Wanted, The Kingsman.
I just saw Kingsman for the first time too recently. Yeah. I don't know how I missed that one, and wow, awesome. and also very British too. So love that. Can't wait for the new one, because we were like, well, we have to watch this one before we see the new one. Duh.
Yeah, it's so all of those, since they've already come out. Actually, Wanted might be coming back, because that one they haven't done anything with, but if it's already licensed out to another company, like Kick-Ass is and Kingsman, then it's not going to be involved with this deal. But there are a ton of other properties that could be coming here, either as films or TV series. Some of them that just stuck out to me would be I could probably see it more as a TV show. The new one that Mark Millar did with Greg Capullo, Reborn.
Oh, Greg Capullo.
I could easily see that being a TV series. The other one, I forget who the artist was, but for MPH, that one I could see being a TV series. Huck. I mean, there's so much. Actually, the one I thought first, Jupiter's Legacy. That, I'm like, boom, this is what, especially if for some weird reason the Marvel Netflix movie or TV shows are going to be leaving with this deal, which I don't think it is, but if it is,
I would be shocked, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, beyond shocked if they did that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But it's like, the whole worst case scenario, I could see Jupiter's Legacy filling in that hole real easily.
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of the TV that's on now.
I think that they're trying to, like, a lot of places are trying to stick with more of these TV series and stuff now, like doing these, you release the entire season all at once, it's all available. It seems to be a very popular thing now. I mean, you've got also, there's stuff in the works for Watchmen. Watchmen's coming back as something on HBO. It's supposed to be something on HBO.
Yeah.
You've also got Sin City's apparently back in the works too. So you got all these comics like coming back as shows or as, being reborn. And it's one of those things, like, if you had told me 10 years ago, I want to say 10 years ago, that we'd be in a situation where like almost every network has some comic book related thing on it, or that's like the thing that everyone's scrambling towards, I would have told you you're a liar and there's no way you're from the future.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's just amazing to live in this time and to have, all these things coming to fruition too.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those things that, I mean, you look at now with this deal, like, and as the article starts, Warner Brothers bought DC Comics back in 1968. Disney bought Marvel in 2009. Netflix purchases Millarworld. I don't think there's much else out there. And actually, there was a news story that we did. I think it was like Alterna Comics, or Boom Studios got like something like that. Another like more indie comic book publisher got a majority investment in, I think, by Fox Studios, basically getting them first look access or first look rights to the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it seems like they're hitting the right idea of, okay, we have these comic books. Comic books are really big right now, but we do know there's more than Marvel and DC. I know.
Yeah.
I know Valiant's been working hard to get a lot of their stuff up off the ground. Yep. Beat put it up here. 20th Century Fox Film has acquired a significant minority stake in Boom Studios. So that's the one I was referring to. Beat is right on the ball here.
Nice.
So I mean, and there are tons of stories that I could see just from Mark Millar writing them that can be pulled up here as movies.
I mean, I'm scrolling through stuff he's done, and it's still going.
Yeah, and that's not to take out from the fact that he's worked. He did. I believe he did. I think he did Civil War.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did Civil War, and then he did Old Man Logan for Marvel. He's done stuff for, I think, for DC as well.
Yep.
And all that. So I mean,
correct.
Yeah, so it's
Justice League of America, The Flash, Legend of the Dark Knight. So he's Swamp Thing. So he's worked with several different characters within, but Superman. So he's worked with several different characters from both.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those things. Like the only thing that I think would hurt this is if he was, because of this deal, and I don't see why they would, but because of this deal, he no longer would have the chance to write a story for Marvel or DC, and I mean DC and Marvel proper, not what was it, the imprint that Kick-Ass was published through.
What was that?
It's like Power. No, I think it's the same one as Powers. The Marvel Max. No, that's not Marvel Max.
I just had it and I scrolled away. Vertigo? It's not Vertigo.
No, Vertigo is DC.
Oh, Icon Comics.
Icon, yeah, that's it. So yeah, I look at this and I honestly think, like, there's part of me that worries, like, okay, are we going to be getting too many comic books?
Well, that's the thing I was about to say. I mean, I don't want to be morbid, but is the comic book bubble ever going to burst?
I mean, the way I look at it, on the Marvel and DC side, I can definitely see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the fact that, and as we will get to with our discussion topic, like, there's only it seems like there's only so many stories that they want to tell.
Yeah. Or that you
And-
can tell in film form
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. And it's weird to me, like I think with them big two, yes, this will happen. I mean, one of the funniest jokes from Lego Batman was Alfred saying, "Oh, which mopey moment are you talking about?" and then going backwards chronologically.
That was great. That was so good, and I loved all the little Lego versions of him in each of those scenes.
Yeah,
minus, of course, the Adam West one where that was just video of one of those scenes.
Yeah. And so it's like it sort of brings to your head, like, and you realize how far apart the movies were. Like, they're not that far apart. Like, I think the biggest gap was between Batman and Robin
to Batman Begins.
Like, that was
minus the 1960s one.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, minus the 1960s, because that one was, the 1960s, and then it was in the 1989 Tim Burton Batman film. But
and real quick, since we mentioned it, I want to say this. Lego Batman, in my opinion, one of the best comic book movies ever.
Oh yeah,
it's great. It's brilliant. It's great. I love it. It's one of the best Batman you'll get, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I went into it knowing I'm probably gonna like this, and left to go, and yeah, I really like this.
It's okay. So this is the weird part, because I watched the Lego movie. I love it. I loved the Lego Batman movie. I looked at the Lego Ninjago. I don't think it. From seeing the commercials, I'm like, I might go see that.
Yeah, it's just a fun. They're fun movies.
Yeah, and it's like I've seen a couple episodes of the Cartoon Network Lego Ninjago series.
Is it supposed to be connected?
No, I do not think so.
Okay, because I heard it wasn't. Because I'm like,
yeah,
I don't think it is, and I hope it's not.
With how it from hearing it, I'm like, okay, this is probably connected, and then from seeing that trailer, I'm like, this is not connected, because one of the first jokes that they show or say in there is the character of Lloyd pulls off his mask, like, I'm your son, you're my father. He's like, well, no, duh, Lloyd. It's Lloyd. No, Lloyd. Lloyd. I'm your father. I named you.
I would know.
Yeah, I would know. But no, so I mean, and also I will point out, I only own 2 4K movies, Logan and Lego Batman movie. Lego Batman movie looks so good in 4K. Like, I tell people,
get 4K movies.
I tell people, because that big black box behind me is a 4K TV, that it was like when I watched it after work, it was like there was little Lego figures on my screen just going about, like actual Lego figures, not just like computer generated stuff. It was so good. Speaking of 4K, possibly.
Yes.
Because of Netflix.
Yes.
Are you a fan of David Letterman? Like, did you watch his show?
I'm a fan of people making fun of him. Like, it's one of those things. I've seen very little David Letterman, but I've seen so many jokes like made at his expense by Saturday Night Live, or just everyone and anyone. It was just like he seemed to be the punching bag of like late night joke making, besides Jay Leno. But he's supposed to be coming back to Netflix.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's the one chick that has her show on there. Why am I not remembering her name?
Chelsea Handler.
Yeah, and I was like, that's interesting. And it apparently has been popular that now he wants to come back.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, like, there's been enough hullabaloo.
Nice.
Enough stuff mentioned with Chelsea lately, that, and I've never seen it. It's just one of those things, like, Chelsea Handler has never interested me as a comic. She's, when I've seen her, she is funny. It's just not my type of humor.
Yeah.
And so seeing this, like, I'm like, okay, David Letterman has not done anything but grow his beard.
He basically went off television and vanished to grow a beard.
Yeah. To come back as this lumberjack or whatever. And so reading this,
to be back on television.
Yeah, there'll be 6 episodes in the series, which will feature in-depth conversations with extraordinary people, and in the field segments expressing his curiosity and humor. That sounds really good.
Yeah,
that in my opinion, is going to be a really good show. more in the lines of Bill Nye Saves the World.
Yes. Oh God, such a good show.
Yeah. One of these things like where you're not, you're probably not going to find him doing these stupid pet tricks and, like here's his late night show just on Netflix and they're doing it weekly or whatever. But him getting down, because his interviews were really good. The Entertainment Weekly is where we have the link for this, and they start the video with him interviewing Joaquin Phoenix with that whole meltdown that Joaquin Phoenix had or whatever. And so it'd be one of those things like, David Letterman was a great interviewer, could get the great content out of people when they weren't really, like Joaquin Phoenix, like was going through some stuff and decided, instead of stepping back, which is like, I'm gonna let the world see the stuff that I'm going through and all that.
Now, from reading this real quick, from reading through this real quick, and the whole in-depth conversations with extraordinary people in the field, say, here's my thing. Is this going to be taken like as a serious thing, or is this going to be like just kind of a joke the entire time? Like in extraordinary people, is it going to be like actually extraordinary people, or just people like you know what I mean, kind of being just meta on itself? I
honestly think it's going to be there's going to be two parts to this. The in the field segments are where there's going to be more of the humor.
Okay.
The in-depth conversations with extraordinary people, I think that is going to be, at least my hopes, I'd be more interested in it, is, like think of it like how with the Daily Show, with how they get the politicians and how he's had the politicians on his show and, talking about the topics like that. Like my hope would be that it's going to be more along those lines, where it's him talking with someone who is very knowledgeable on this topic to educate us and educate himself.
You saying Bill Nye was a real big like sticking point for me with that, because now I've got I'm like, that's exactly what he did. So I'm like, I can definitely see Letterman doing that.
It's just with this one, it would not necessarily be science focused. Bill Nye's was.
Yeah, it's just he did the whole stuff with that, and then had the little sit downs where it was like a serious talk, but while kind of poking fun too.
Oh yeah. Like never taking themselves so seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, this is, I mean, gosh, and I mean, think about it. He doesn't have to do this. I mean, he's spent 33 years on TV, has 6,200 or 6,028 episodes under his belt. He's probably got enough money to just sit back and relax.
See, I'm wondering, because I don't know if I skimmed over it. Did Netflix come to him, or did he go to Netflix with this idea? I said, I'm just wondering, because I skimmed it and I didn't see anything where I don't think I saw anything where it pointed out who went to who.
I think I want to say it was Netflix.
Went to him.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's good on Netflix's part to pull him.
I mean, it could be him. But I could see him not doing it for the money, but doing it because like here's his quote. I feel excited and lucky to be working on this project for Netflix, Letterman said in a statement. Here's what I have learned. If you retire to spend more time with your family, check with your family first. Thanks for watching. Drive safely.
But no, I mean, that's why I wanted to mention that, was because of like if they went to him, that's something I was interested. It would be interested in, that they came to him and he thought it was such a good pitch that he goes, yeah, hold on, let me shave this beard and I will return to television. Or is he keeping it?
I don't know. I mean, he very well could keep it. There's part of me now that thinks that it could be he went to them, because it just says, like it doesn't say who went to where, like who went to which, which party met, like offered it up and all that. It was, and honestly, I can see, I could see it being, him going like, hey, I've got this idea. I want to do something, like John Oliver did, or not John Oliver, Jon Stewart did with HBO.
Yeah.
And then that quickly turned into
one of the best shows that is on sometimes.
I don't know. Okay, so I've got nothing else to add with that story. But I think we are going to take a quick break. So real quick, if you like what you're hearing so far, you can go to gncast.com/support, and on there you will find our Patreon link. You can be our partner. One of the things that you get with this is you get me recommending comic books to you. This is at the partner plus level, the $5 level, or higher, and you support this. It's a monthly, it's a monthly thing, but you're getting every week when I remember to do it. Just about every week you're getting me recommending you at least 5 comic books out there, and these are great comic books and all that stuff. And so if you're wanting to get into comic books, check it out. It's $5 a month. You get an idea, and then hey, you're supporting us, and we'd love to have you guys on. You could be like Growly Bear, be like Brian Jensen, who have become partners with us. Help us keep the network afloat is what I'm getting at with this. gncast.com/support. All right, so it's time for the ElseViews. This is where we talk about the shows, comic books. Well, those are what we brought today. So that we have been wanting to talk about. You want to do Rick and Morty first?
Yeah, Pickle Rick.
Because
I'm not Rick.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna give you this because I am behind, but that's my own damn fault for being behind. So I have
far behind, so I don't spoil anything. Because
go for it. It's at this point where,
Okay.
like, spoiling it. It's just gonna be. It's my own dumb fault because I have Hulu. I have access to season 2. I could get caught up and then watch season 3 as it's going on right now. It's just
and they put them out for free on Adult Swim too. So I mean.
Yeah,
There's no excuse. There's no excuse.
Yeah, I have no excuse. I am ashamed. I'm going to go over in the corner now and cry.
The Rock works out every day, and I'm sure he's caught up on Rick and Morty.
Yeah, he does it in between takes of Ballers.
Yeah, there. He'll be like, hold on, gotta watch my Rick and Morty.
I'm Pickle
doing a few
Rick,
curls. But no, so this week's episode had Pickle Rick, which was teased at long time ago with the trailer and everything, which basically Rick turns himself into a pickle. And I'll explain kind of on why he does that in a second, but it's just great because this new season has been kind of picking up where the last one left off. Beth and Jerry are separated. The kids are kind of dealing with it in their own way. And Rick's dealing with it in a unique way too, but this is going to be the darkest season from the April Fool's Day episode, the first episode where he's like, this is the darkest season. I want the Szechuan sauce, all that stuff. This season has been kind of having dark overtones to it at times. And Pickle Rick's great, but the whole reason he turns himself into a pickle is so he doesn't have to go to counseling. Because he agreed to go to counseling. And then he decides to turn himself. He's like, okay, I'll go. And this is something you don't know going into the episode. But then it's pointed out, like, Morty goes, Rick, did you turn yourself into a pickle so you could get out of counseling? He's like, no, Morty, I would not turn myself into a pickle to get out of counseling. That would just be terrible for me to do that. And then they're about to leave, and Morty points out that there is a syringe above him with fluid in it, and then there's like a timer set to 10 minutes after they leave to where the syringe would have like dropped on him. So Beth takes the syringe, and then Rick's left sitting there and kind of gets stuck in the sewer and goes to this adventure of like building himself like an exosuit out of first cockroaches, because he's a pickle so he can't move. But he basically kills a cockroach, rips open its head, uses its brain to move himself. Then when you cut back to him later, he's got more cockroaches to where he's able to move himself, and then makes a mouse-like exosuit so that he actually has arms and legs to use, and just beats up a ton of rats and stuff, and then breaks into a, like, I guess, I don't know if it's a drug lord or some building to where it's a ton of guys in suits trying to kill him. And he just goes through and kills them all. And the whole time it's cutting back and forth of them actually at the the psychiatrist and them going over stuff. And Beth is obviously in complete denial of the fact of her father, is kind of being manipulative, and they're like, what's in the syringe, and she's kind of putting all of her problems on everyone else the whole time, which like I said, the show's starting to get deeper with these characters' issues and stuff, and that's why I'm loving it, because I'm like, the Pickle Rick thing was great, but the stuff with the family was revealing a lot of stuff to where the kids were actually feeling like they were getting help from the psychiatrist with their problems. But at the end of the episode, Beth and Rick are kind of completely non wanting to do anything about it, even though they both kind of got pointed out to them, everything that's going on with them and what they need to fix. And it was actually, truthful stuff. But the great thing was there was this whole battle between Danny Trejo is in it as a character named Jaguar. It was like this like Danny Trejo character.
Yeah.
Who's like a hitman, and him and Rick have this like shootout where Rick's like assembled a laser that uses AA batteries as like its ammunition. So he's like firing this laser, and then the Jaguar's got 2 Uzis, and it's just this whole fight between them, and it's great because it's just the like craziest thing in the world. And then it ends by them basically blowing up the facility because it was had evil men in it. And then Rick kind of points out how kind of heartless he is too, because Jaguar's daughter's dead, and Rick points out, like, because the Jaguar's like, you need to go be with your family, you need to go be with your daughter and everything. I wish I had the opportunity to do it with mine. He goes, well, I have infinite daughters. I actually left the original one of them in like an alternate timeline, like that I destroyed basically. And then Jaguar's like, okay, well, good luck with that. And he stops and goes, wait a second, do I have infinite daughters? And he goes, no, that's just me. And it was such a great episode. It just had so many moments, and he's just yelling Pickle Rick every now and then too, which just made it great.
Yeah.
But no, I'm loving this new season. I'm loving it.
So, I mean, honestly, like I said before, it's just one of those things, like I've fallen behind on them, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to them, and eventually, and all that. And now it's like, now that I have access to Adult Swim, I have, the time off of, where I'm not working all the goddamn time and trying to read comic books. He said, well, he has 31 comic books to read this week. That I will probably start, especially tomorrow, since I have tomorrow off. I will probably try to get caught up to where I'm at least in season 3. I know I don't have far to go. I think I was at episode 5 or 6 of season 2 where I ended up, but it's just one of those things, like I've loved Rick and Morty. It took a friend of mine said, hey, you need to watch this, and this is after season 1.
It took me zero amount. Like, it came on, and I was instantly like, done. Show me. In the famous words of the show, show me what you got.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, it's not. It only took that long because I've lost faith in Adult Swim.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Adult Swim, with it becoming family, like airing show episodes of Family Guy, which I hate. Like, I used to love Family Guy, but not anymore.
I'm right there with you.
An American Dad, same thing. And it's just like
different time.
Yeah, I've fallen out of love with both of those shows. I love the Cleveland Show. I think the Cleveland Show probably could have gotten another season or 2 before I would have fallen out of love with it. And then the animes, I haven't been in them like I should have been. As like growing up, I got into anime through Adult Swim.
Oh, same here. And Toonami.
Yeah, and it's just like, now I'm just like, I watch other things. Like, my original ElseView was going to be on Disney's DXP over on Disney XD, where it's more gaming focused stuff. It's basically G4 at from 9 o'clock to from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. on Disney.
Remember Attack the Show?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, like old Attack the Show, like Kevin Pereira and Olivia Munn era Attack the Show.
Yep. Yeah, that's when I started. That's when I started.
X-Play.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because they have on the on there a show that's executive produced by Kevin Pereira and a couple of
Nice.
the other producers of Attack of the Show called called The Attack, and it's actually one that they do live.
Wow! I just thought that I just happened to see that keep popping up. I just thought they renamed Attack of the Show.
It's okay, sort of. So it's a rebranding, and it's a rebranding of Attack of the Show. They just called it The Attack. They started it out on Twitch. They still do the Twitch shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And it's one of these things like, you watch it and you're like, okay, this is like, seems like it's a new thing. And it's when I was like, I fell in love with that show on there.
Yeah.
Like,
I might have to check that out then.
Yeah. Through like, I'd watch it through YouTube. And then I saw the preview, like they're saying, "Oh, hey, we're coming to DXP," and I'm like, "What the fuck is DXP?"
What's that?
Yeah.
What Mountain Dew drink is that?
Yeah. And then doing more research, I'm like, "Oh, wait, this actually sounds pretty cool." Like they've got quite a few shows in there. Like they've got some Let's Plays, and it's interesting at how they do this because like it's hard with games, and especially with this because they're trying to keep it family friendly. Because there are a lot of Let's Plays on there. There's one of the shows on there is called Polaris Primetime, and it one of the creators. It's all people through Disney's Polaris network, or used to be Maker Studios.
Yeah.
That are that do Let's Plays for them, and one of them's just Steven Septiceye or something like that. Someone Septiceye, I remember is his last part of his name. And he swears a little bit, so they censor it. And then on The Attack, they censor it. And if it's like they played some clips from like Call of Duty, and they'll throw up a cat, when it goes through the parts. Yeah.
Okay, that can be funny.
Yeah, they did it with Dishonored. They showed a glitch where they were carrying a dead body, and there was a blacksmith who was just sitting there doing the default animation of banging. They touch him to where the body like he's moved away, throws the body on the table, he cuts back, he's banging the person in the balls. Like it's just a glitch. It's like a dead body just sitting there, and you just hear ting 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 as he's doing it.
It's got balls of steel.
Yeah. And then like he gets like the glitch fails, and so he gets like alerted like, oh wait, I'm bashing this dude's balls in, and so they come up and kill him, like they like sword or whatever, and that's like a cat going and all that.
Nice.
It's this whole, and this wasn't gonna be my pick, but I guess it's
I was about to say I was gonna be like, I love how that wasn't your pick, but we're going at it full force.
Yeah. Well, we're both sort of doing too, so it's like, hey, we're cheating, whatever. It's really fun. Polaris Primetime is another show that I recommend. There's a lot of Let's Plays and stuff on there. They had Will Wheaton on like episode 3 and all that, so it was really cool just to see all these YouTubers and celebrities, like mainstream celebrities, Clash, not Kalash, I don't know what that was.
Kalash.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean that's one thing to check out. It's on Disney XD in America at 9 p.m. Till 3 a.m. Don't know about the internationals, so sorry. My other pick, and then I want to get to yours because I've also read your pick as well, your other pick.
And I'm very interested in your pick because I'm interested to know what this is.
So Edge of Venomverse.
From someone who read it. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Edge of Venomverse is a new limited series that's leading to a mini event series from Marvel called Venomverse. So if you're familiar with the Spider-Verse thing that happened 3 years ago now, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's sort of like the Venom take of it. The big difference is where with that, with the Edge of Spider-Verse, where they did these brilliant stories. Gerard Way did one on the mech suit Spider-Man. This is where we got Spider-Gwen and there was the horror themed comic that was like, the what would actually happen if Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider. This is sort of like that. I have issue number 4 here. This is actually each issue. It started with X-23 with Laura Kinney, then it went to Gwenpool, and then the issue 3 was with Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, which that was interesting as fuck.
Yeah.
Just because and it's each person in an alternate Marvel universe. So it's not the main 616, but it's, these alternate universes gets, you get some backstory with them, and then they come in, and then, now they're possessed by the symbiote. This one right here, issue number 4 that I'm holding in my hands, is Old Man Logan. I've read the beginning of it, and I love the covers. So I've got the cover held up here, and the covers are so freaking awesome. But issue 3, so I've loved this so far, and issue 3 was the first one to actually allude to Venomverse.
Yeah, so I was about to say, are they connected at all, or just kind of just same themes, different worlds? It's
a little bit more same themes, different worlds. So it's similar. It has the similarities to the Edge of Spider-Verse event that happened a while, or the mini series that happened with, if you remember, with the Edge of Spider-Verse things. Not every issue tied to the Spider-Verse event that was going to happen. The horror, for example, the horror themed comic, that it ended with Peter allegedly killing Mary Jane, the love of his life, because the hunger was too much for him. That was the whole, and you go into the house and you see, what happened to Uncle Ben and Aunt May? Well, they're in those spider cocoon food saver thingies over there, and stuff like that.
Reminds me of Marvel Zombies, where he killed them too.
Yeah, and so with most of them, I believe that it started with Spider-Man Noir, and then it was Spider-Gwen, and I think the horror one was issue 4. But a lot of them preluded, there was this overarching story skipping issue the horror comic.
Yeah,
it just sort of ended and all that, and then I think there was another one that did it too. So it was those 3, they all tied together, and then there was another one that was just sort of a one and done story. Oh no, it tied in because the guy died by the villains of Spider-Verse. So this one, we've sort of had that with the Robbie Reyes one, which was one of the most interesting stories out there, because you have Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, possessed by both Venom, so the symbiote, and the Spirit of Vengeance, and they're sort of well, we're going to work together, because the Spirit of Vengeance feeds off the soul, Venom feeds off the body, Robbie Reyes is just there as meat flesh. There's this one scene in this one part in the book where they cut to, or I believe it was a sonic scream or whatever, and it triggered Venom's weakness of
yeah,
and they split apart, and it's this cool, you see this cool tie of okay, here's Venom over here, and here's the Spirit of Vengeance, and Robbie Reyes is please stop killing people, trying to plead with them before they come in,
come back, bitch. And then just yeah.
But it's been such a great story. I'm actually looking forward to the Venomverse, and hopefully this will give me a good kickstart to get back into Venom, because I'm weird in this, because where I respect the Flash Thompson, or not Flash Thompson, Eddie Brock Venom.
Yeah,
I'm a bigger Flash Thompson Agent Venom fan than
I will agree with you to a certain extent. The reason I'm drawing this out is because I like certain elements, but Flash Thompson being Venom was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and I like characters to change too. So that's the problem. I'd love to be Eddie Brock again, but I feel like his character has done so much stuff.
Yeah, and
So,
I mean, and Eddie Brock was also, I believe he was also anti-Venom too.
yeah, he was for a
So
while.
it's one of those things like, I mean, I loved the fact that that Brian Michael Bendis, when Agent Venom was with the Guardians, actually fleshed out Venom's origin
Yeah.
and all that. That was cool. The Planet of the Clintars.
Yep.
That was so freaking cool. So much to where I think the reason why I quit going, reading it was because when they did the Venom book, and it wasn't Flash Thompson, it was this Mike DaCosta or whatever, where it was an interesting concept of a flip where the symbiote just wants to help.
It found a balance. It found
Yeah.
a balance in itself to where it wasn't psychotic and murdering.
No, it
But
wasn't. He was.
Yeah, but then now it's kind of corrupting it instead, as
Yeah.
opposed to what it normally does.
Yeah, exactly. And so then, but I guess it only lasted for a couple issues, and then he's now back with Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
Actually, because they went to the legacy numberings with 150, so that's where it went back with Eddie and all that. But I don't know. I'm really excited for Venomverse. I read like the first 4 pages of issue 4 of Edge of Venomverse, and it's already looking really good. So yeah, I will be so excited once that gets started. And honestly, once Marvel Legacy gets started, that's the other part.
Yeah, I'm interested in to see where that goes, and I'm kind of interested in this whole Avengers 1 million BC.
Yeah, that looks.
Yeah, I was about to say, have you seen that yet?
Yeah, I've seen some of the artwork for that. It's like that, and which I mean, it was freaking cool. You got Ghost Rider on
a mammoth, freaking mammoth. That's awesome.
Yeah. But okay, enough talking about Marvel. I want to talk about that book that's right behind you, sir. I want to talk Elsewhere.
All right.
Because as I was talking about this, like all last week, in my head, I'm like, ElseNerds. No, that's not it. Like,
yeah,
it's not made into a comic book.
I picked up the first issue. It was out 2 weeks ago now. No, last week. Sorry, my bad. My bad. It was out last week, and I picked up the first issue of it. And I am immediately in love with it. To kind of give a brief, and I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil the ending to it.
Okay, so here, we'll do this. We'll do this because I do want to hit on that a little bit.
Okay,
we are going to give. This is the only other time we're going to give a spoil. We're going to do spoiler free, and then we're going to do spoiler. I will give the warning when we're going to do spoilers. So if you do not want to know the ending, which I recommend, I'm honestly recommend.
Yeah. This is a recommend.
Yeah, this is because, like, if you want to come in this clean, the basic premise is this is what happened. This book takes place in what happens to Amelia Earhart after she went through the Bermuda Triangle. That's it. The art, like you can speak to the art and stuff, but
yeah.
I mean, and on my side, I love the art. I love the writing. I loved everything about this book, and that is as spoiler free as I can get.
I think you hit the nail on the head with this. I enjoy kind of, the paranormal stuff here and there and everything like that. So I'm familiar with Amelia Earhart. I'm familiar with another development that takes place in this, which we will get to during the spoilers. We'll get to that. But Jay Faber, who is the writer of this, is also did one of my other favorite comics from Image, which is Copperhead. Which I have loved Copperhead. We actually had him on the show to discuss Copperhead. So I was really excited when I found out he was doing this. And me and Ellie will be doing a more in-depth discussion ourselves on our show on Monday with maybe a special guest joining us. But that being said, I'm sure it's spoiler time now.
Yes, so let's spoil away. Because
right.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna let you do the spoiler. I had to Google after I got there. I'm like, wait,
you had to Google who DB Cooper was?
Yeah, I knew, I recognized the name, but I'm like, wait, it was one of those things like, why does this sound so familiar? And so I'm like, okay, I just fuck it, put me out of my misery. I'm like, oh, he's the dude who flew the plane, hijacked the plane.
He hijacked the plane, got money, and then vanished.
Yeah. And
that's okay, sorry. That's the real world story.
Yeah. That's the real world story. In this,
now in the comic form, we're assuming that happened, but he just appeared there.
Yeah. So
like he's there because she thinks it's her navigator.
Yeah.
And it's not. And he's like, hey, I'm DB Cooper. And so I'm sitting there, and I seriously had the book open, closed it, looked up, kind of sat there for a second, opened it back to the page, read it again, and I was like, nope, I read that correctly. So I'm like, where is this going to go? Because this place must exist at a time, too, wherever this elsewhere place they're at, because those are years apart from each other. A good ballparking off the top of my head, 30 to 40 years apart from each other, those two events. So I'm interested because I'm like, well, what's going on? I mean, I was interested to know what was going on because it doesn't explain yet really what's going on.
No, yeah. So this is, in my opinion, this is a great setup issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hitting the nail on the head of, you know, what you should expect with this, you know, with this world they're creating here. I love the fact because it's very Doctor Who. Where there was a part
very.
There's a part in there where Amelia goes, wait, why are you guys speaking English? And they're like, no, we're speaking Cladacian or the alien creature Ray. She's like, but wait, and then like they both recognize the word plane, like, okay, plane is not something from their language, but they've heard it before. And you know, and she's like, oh wait, plane, I know about that. That's
mine.
I got here. That's mine. And stuff like that. Good God, I'm jealous of you that you're actually going to be interviewing Jay again.
Oh, you're revealing the secret.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
that was the
it's
spoiler.
fine. It's
fine. But I mean, because that, like, I've nerded out over very few things with people.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing that I really nerded out and almost like where I should be ashamed of myself was nerding out over professional wrestling with Joey Image and all that. And I'm like, it's like, okay, done. Like it's a 3-hour show. We need to cut this because, you know, I've got to get sleep, but I want to talk more wrestling with you. I would probably do the same thing with this. Like, just tell me what's going to happen.
I don't know if I'm going to try to get some stuff out of him. We're also going to be discussing, of course, Copperhead's coming back soon. And that, if you want to talk about endings to stuff, the recent arc end, I don't know if you followed that at all, or if anyone follows that just had like a moment where I'm sitting there and I'm like, really? So it was the end of the third arc with Copperhead, and there's been something that's been teased that since the first arc, which it's now possibly coming to fruition. But you don't know because it just has one panel where it's like there.
Okay, that is cool. I think so how many issues have they done of Copperhead?
15 or 14. I'm just ballparking it off the top of my head.
Okay. Because that I might try to. I think I might pick up the trades.
Pick up the trades. The new one, volume 1 and 2 are out. Volume 3 will be out in September, and the artwork for the first 2 are done by Scott Galeski, and then they've switched it up to somebody else for a little bit. But we just had Scott on as well because he on our show, because he did a run on Superman, which we wanted to talk about that. He did Superman this summer. He did 3 issues, which was very cool. He's going to be returning to Copperhead after the next arc, but he's also, not only will he be drawing, he will be also doing some of the writing for it as well.
Oh, that is cool.
Since Jay's doing Elsewhere, he also writes for The Zoo, which is a CBS show. They kind of like I said, I'm going to talk to Jay about it, get his side of it. But no, it was just very cool because I really enjoyed that. I've been able to interview both the creators, but Drew Moss is the one who did the artwork, and he picked up very well where Scott left off. So it was very cool to have that very natural flow with the way the comic was done to kind of move from one artist to the other for the time being. So I really enjoyed that choice in Copperhead. Sorry, we were talking about Elsewhere, but I feel like all of them tie together for me.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I love about this because my picks tend to flow, like have this arching flow with them, where I'll get off track on something, but it'll be something that's related to the other thing. So and this is going to be great because I get in ruts with the comic book recommendations. Like I'll be like, oh, this is a new number 1. I'll recommend this. I don't know if I'll actually read it. The big exception, obviously, being this week with Mr. Miracle.
Oh yeah, everyone's been talking about that.
I've been so excited about that, mainly because of the fact that Tom King is writing it, and I'm like, all right, I'm sold on this just for that part alone. And then it's also because it's the creative team, like him and the artist, Mike Gerards, did Sheriff of Babylon, and I love that. I love that art style with it. So I'm like, sold. But yeah, so I believe, and we'll have links to, Copperhead and Elsewhere and Edge of Venomverse and Rick and Morty in our show notes. So you can just click, follow, go there, find the links, purchase the comics. Please purchase the comics. Support.
Yes, definitely support.
Yeah, this is the biggest thing I can always say. This is actually the tagline that I do for the comic book part of the comic book recommendations. Go find your local comic book shop. Comic book shop locator, comicshoplocator.com, I believe will find, you put in your area code and it'll find you the closest the comic book shop, and go start a pull list, for crying out loud. Go in there, like they have free issues for things like, so for preview issues, like I just picked up the Marvel previews because it was free, and
free's good.
Yeah, free's good because also that give me like, I know what I'm getting now in October, like October, November. Yeah. Because of this. And I'm like,
always a great way to keep up on stuff.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna be getting a lot of comics. And if you do not have a local comic book store, one that is close enough to where you feel like you want to make the drive, Comixology, for crying out loud. Comixology. Go there, buy the comic books, or at the very least, if you got a local library, Hoopla, you can get free comic books on there. A lot of the free comic books are out there for free. I know DC does the trades on there, and then Archie Comics, it's like day and date when it releases. It's on Hoopla. So like that's where I've read. Like I got caught up on Archie, and then made sure I was caught up on Jughead and Betty and Veronica when that comes out, because I've been loving this new universe that they've created here with Mark Waid writing, and then they had Chip Zdarsky doing Jughead, and it went to Ryan North, and now Mark Waid is taking over Jughead, and all those stories, they were so good. They're really good stories and brilliant ways to bring in new readers to something that has a long history with it.
I can say that.
Yeah. All right, and that is going to do it for the ElseViews, and we will be right back with the ElseWords. And we are back, and it is time for the ElseWords. This is our big discussion topic of the show, and this is one that I believe Corey suspected when the Fantastic Four comic book was canceled, but it turns out he was right. So it came out, back in 2015, I believe is when it was. The Fantastic Four ended their long historied run in comic books. I'm forgetting the number that they ended on. It was like 600 and something. That they ended, and people were wondering, well, why did they end? Is it because of they're wanting the movie franchises back, or what's going, why are they doing this? Are they just shifting focus? Are they doing, what's going on? And it turns out everyone's fears were right. This Marvel's first family was killed off, basically split up to where now all we see are Johnny Storm and the Thing in the Marvel universe now. We don't, the Reed Richards that we do see in the Marvel universe is the Ultimates version of the Reader, I believe is his name. And it's one part I want to say it's a dick move, because but at the other part, and I mainly say this because Fox owns the film rights for Fantastic Four. They also own the film rights for the X-Men. So what makes the Fantastic Four so different from the X-Men? I mean, they haven't killed off the X-Men comic books.
Can continue. I've got a soapbox I'm going to move. strategically in front of me and jump on for a minute, if that's okay.
Oh no, that's fine, because I look at this like in all honesty, they, where they might be telling worse, not as good stories with the X-Men. There are still X-Men books.
Yes.
There is the Fantastic Four. There is not a Fantastic Four book. There is not a Future Foundation book out there. They're gone.
Yeah.
If you want the Fantastic Four, even Doctor Doom, he doesn't have his own book like where it's Doctor Doom. It is the infamous Iron Man.
Yeah.
And all that. And that's where we're getting Ben Grimm in here. And Johnny Storm has joined the Inhumans and all that. So it's one of those things like we do not have, and even now he's on the back burner because he stayed on Earth while his lady love went off to space with who she thought was her husband, but turned out to be his brother and all that with Royals.
Comics are weird.
Yeah. So yeah, this honestly, I understand the reasoning for this move. At the same time, it makes me wonder, well, why the fuck didn't you do this with X-Men 2? Because it seems like right now, it seems like the only thing that they've gotten out of it is the Skrulls. That's you know what I mean? Because they're coming in with Captain Marvel.
Yes.
So
which that's going to open, in my opinion, a whole can of worms in the MCU, possibly.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I've been stalling, waiting for your soapbox.
Oh no! I'm being patient and respectful before I'm about what I'm about to do.
And now for the retort, Zenger.
All right.
With your soapbox.
So I'm just saying this. And feel free to interrupt or interject at any point in time in this, because I could be wrong on some of this stuff too, because I'm having to rack back my memory for this stuff. But I'm not surprised. They want to make Marvel as a company wants to make Fantastic Four something that's unappealing so that they'd be willing to sell the rights back or give them, the rights to it so that they could, Fox could, come to a deal or do something. Because I think the Fantastic Four is an essential part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it would be interesting to have elements from it. Big one, Doctor Doom is an interesting character, and I would love to have him back on the screen in some way, shape, or form. Am I ever going to get that? Probably at some point, but it would be cool to have him exist in that universe as somebody who is, maniacal, evil, and someone who's just kind of sitting there. And it's like, yeah, he's evil, but we can't really do anything about him because he kind of has his own country and he's not really doing anything for us to affect him. But to know that guy sitting there that has a plan for everything is always cool. As for your comment, though, about Marvel, correct me if I am wrong, but a few years ago, didn't the Terrigen Mist kill off a ton of the mutants? So, yeah, the Terrigen Mist, which they just wrapped up, what it did is it sterilized the mutants for the first part. So no new mutants. So no new mutants. With some exceptions of, time displacing them and, stuff like that. Correct. But there's, and it's done other things, but they're still giving them new stories. They're still they are now, but a little bit ago, they had this weird thing where they were wrapping up a ton of the comics. They had only a few things. Now recently, they brought back a whole realm of new stuff for them to be doing. But for a while there, it seemed to narrow down to where there was only instead of having let's just give this example, 10 ongoing stories with the X-Men, as an actual book, not characters. It was 3 currently running, but now it's spread back out to 10 again. So it bottlenecked for some reason. Another thing, Wolverine's dead. Yeah. They killed off one of the most popular characters. Now, Lord Kenny came in and filled it in. Old Man Logan came in and filled in that spot. And now is his son named James from the Ultimate? Yeah, it's James Howlett from the Ultimate Universe. And there's also still Dakin out there too. Okay, so he's back officially? I thought he was... So in one of the things in the previews, I'm trying to scoot over so I can grab the previews issue. They talk about let me get to it. So I heard that he was going to be coming back, or that there was a mention of him being around again. Yeah, so in Marvel Legacy, starting with All New Wolverine number 25, written by Tom Taylor with art by
Juan Cabal. I will show you the cover.
Ta-da!
Who does that look like?
That is definitely Dakin. But that's the thing. I mean, they've done everything but bring back a proper, the proper Wolverine.
And
they brought every element of him back. I'm surprised they don't have Sabretooth in something I know right now.
Sabretooth is in
X-Force? X-Force?
I think it's X-Force. He was in a couple things. All I know is that he was in there with it's whichever the last book that Greg Land was doing, and I know that because I fucking hate Greg Land.
Good reason to know something. But no, I mean that's my thing is for a while there they seem to be just making the X-Men very unappealing or kind of trying to, I don't know, push another team of heroes that has similar powers, similar things into the spotlight, the Inhumans.
Yeah.
Now, why would they do that? Because they own the rights to the Inhumans.
Yeah, trust me, I know that's the reason why they did that stuff. But
it's one of those.
At the same time, you go with like I'm going to counter your Doctor Doom thing with a villains. A lot of the X-Men villains are compelling villains.
Oh no, Magneto is one of the best villains.
Yeah,
ever. In my opinion. And the problem with him is they have done so much with him that they're just out of ideas of what to do with him. Except for they're like, let him be a good guy now again because we're out of bad guy ideas for him at the moment. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there was a huge explosion in the chat.
Yeah, I was looking through that. I'm trying to figure out where it ended because Beat didn't put the break. But Kwanzaa, oh fuck me, I am going to butcher his name. Or her name. The former DC editor and current director of creative strategies for PR firm Weber Shandwick, as well as writer of Black, pointed to other Marvel properties once perceived as far-fetched, saying, "Don't tell me a talking tree and anthropomorphic raccoon can sell, but the Fantastic Four can't." We're not saying the Fantastic Four can't sell.
Oh no! I'm not saying that. I'm saying Marvel is making them not sell.
Yeah,
they're making the storylines unappealing. Any character you have care about not relevant, or in someone else's book. So that's the thing. I mean, or you turn your character a complete reversal of themselves, like they did with Cyclops, where he became this complete lunatic.
Yup. And it took him dying in Death of X, and then the young Cyclops having to. Like this is the one thing I find interesting with the Young X-Men, where I do love the book. I love the all new, what was all new X-Men is now X-Men Blue.
Yeah.
And then the Jean Grey storybook, as well, is Jean Grey and Scott both have, and actually for Beast for a little bit in there too. They all have this fear of their older selves because of legacies. And you look. One of the other books I picked up, Generations, Generations Phoenix, Jean Grey and the Phoenix right here. And, we're going to be seeing them, her, finally confronting Jean Grey. Or,
Jean Grey's dead still, isn't it, she?
Yeah. It's with Generations, it's weird. It's this time displacement thing.
Well, I actually had a theory on something.
Okay.
So we talked about this earlier. Avengers 1 million BC.
Yeah.
Did you notice something odd about the Phoenix? In that,
I'd have to take a look at the picture real quick.
Just another redhead randomly that looks oddly like Jean Grey. Now, either the Phoenix has a type, or that's actually Jean Grey. The age-appropriate one had been thrown back in time. Just an idea, no evidence to support it aside from me just being like, I've read comics enough. I can get on board with a stupid, crazy idea like this.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Because she has been dead, correct me if I'm wrong, since probably 2005-ish.
Yeah.
She was killed by I'm big quotation fingers here, Magneto, when Grant Morrison was doing his run on New X-Men, and then it was shown that was actually a clone of Magneto, or someone copying Magneto's abilities, or a robot that was Magneto. I don't know. Just take your pick for whatever crazy thing, because they immediately brought him back, but she's been dead ever since.
Yeah, that's the other part that sort of pisses me off.
Mhm.
Because they bring back these characters almost, I don't want to say willy-nilly, but they bring them back almost as quick as they kill them off.
Yeah. They've gotten better about it, kind of.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, you haven't done that with Jean Grey. You haven't done it with Professor Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like every time...
Jean Grey has the excuse. She's the Phoenix. She has the best excuse for anyone to just be like, yeah, they're back. She's back alive.
Yeah.
But no, dead.
And I mean, you even go to Professor Xavier, and they've bastardized him. You had this great time where you could have brought him back with the X-Men Legion book, the book on David Haller. You could have truly brought him back. No, he stayed dead. Not only that, you had the Red Skull dig up his body, scoop out his brain, put it in his own head so that he had the psychic abilities of Charles Xavier.
Had him take over the Red Skull, possibly his body. I don't know, just some weird comic stuff.
There was even hints at that, but with how it ended in Uncanny Avengers, with Jerry Duggan's run on Uncanny Avengers, it ended with the Red Skull, his head being no longer attached to his body, and off into space it went, or so they thought.
Bye.
Yeah, you see it come back and like make a guest appearance in Secret Empire #7, I believe. That's the one problem with reading a lot of comic books, is they all sort of blend together at times.
And then there's retcons, and they change stuff, or that actually wasn't the right reality, or whatever they decided to do. But no, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, I look at this like it makes sense on Marvel's end, but then it's you then have to go, why not for the X-Men? Why not take out, just no more X-Men books?
Like I said, I think they attempted that when it had that bottleneck moment, but I think it probably, people were getting angry, or it was getting too blatantly obvious what they were doing, and someone maybe on the legal team went, okay, you guys, you're making this way too obvious.
Yeah.
Like there might be some weird contract stuff that we're not aware of that Marvel has to still put out. Like I said, who knows? It could be any number of reasons.
Yeah. And
to be honest.
Beatmaster put out in the YouTube chat, one-time Marvel and IDW editor, now writer John Barber, spelled it out more directly, saying, not to be blunt, but 3 fucking terrible movies don't help anything. Now I've got a wild theory right now.
All right, hold on, I'm put on my tinfoil hat.
Yeah, do you remember one of the announcements that was made at San Diego Comic-Con that relates to the Fantastic Four?
Wait, wasn't there a rumor that they were supposed to be like the oh my gosh, why can I not remember Thanos' little goon squad?
Oh, the children of Thanos.
Yeah, that was actually going to turn out to be the new Fantastic Four. I thought I heard somewhere that
I wasn't going with that rumor.
Okay.
Because this was during the Fox panel.
Okay.
And then Noah Hawley came out and did his mic drop moment, saying he's developing a Doctor Doom film. That's all he said.
Yeah, right. See, too much news.
Yeah. So my theory is, because we've seen the success of Spider-Man Homecoming, he only said he is developing a Doctor Doom film. What would set up for a great Fantastic Four film? A great Doctor Doom. That's been one of the biggest flaws in the Fantastic Four movies, has been Doctor Doom. I mean, I loved the Julian McMahon. I loved when I watched it first, the first Doctor Doom, his portrayal of Doctor Doom, but it felt like it wasn't quite there yet. Like it was the Lex Luthor on Smallville, as opposed to what we see from him later on in life of, with Doctor Doom. So you have Noah Hawley working on this Doctor Doom film. It's not announced at all. It's not, they play, I think they honestly say they play it low key. And they do not announce that Marvel has the rights, that there's either like a weird distribution thing where now the Fantastic Four are in the cinematic universe, but we just see like the Inhumans, or we see someone who is tied in with that universe but is in the Marvel cinematic universe pop in that movie. It is not announced on sets. It's not leaked anywhere. They keep that shit locked down tight.
Do you know that there was a mention of the Baxter Building in the Avenger movies? I mean, not Avengers, in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
I think I remember that. Yeah,
when it's when the system's targeting all the different things to shoot. If you notice, one of them does say Baxter Building, and it's in New York. So,
oh no, yeah, that's honestly my thought. Is you do it that way, everyone flips the fuck out, and
I would,
and then
hands down,
and because this helps both sides. Maybe this is a deal that strengthens the X-Men side with Fox. Like saying like they get a 5 year, where 5 years after the last movie that they have to work on, for the future movie.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
The whole film rights and all the legal stuff with this were done so long ago and so weirdly and so terribly in certain regards that's why I think that, a lot of us know stuff about it, but it's just there's so many weird little things. Like apparently there was a trade-off for Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah.
And stuff like that happened. So, I mean, it's just this weird thing with Marvel with their film rights on, it's funny having to, if someone asks about something and I explain, and they want me to explain it, but then they're like, oh, why can't this character and this character work together? And it's like, well, let me explain the film rights. And then it's even more, it's like, why would they do that? And I'm like, that's a good question.
It's, and the way I usually answer that is how Beatmaster put it out.
Yeah.
Marvel was going tits down, so it would have been nothing instead. So like because I mean, like I always say it like this: they licensed it out so where they were making some money, and then Disney, Disney Corporation came in with the Mickey Mouse ears going, and said,
we got all the money.
Yeah, we got all the money. You want to come do this? Because they saw the success of the first 3 movies in phase 1. And so it didn't, like, that's why we still have the rights for the Incredible Hulk are still so fucking weird.
They can do a standalone movie, but there's so many bells and whistles to it that they're like, it's not going to happen. We're not going to do it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, from how I understood it,
but I don't want to see another movie based on him. Solely, I don't think it would. I think he works better teamed up with somebody, or kind of working with somebody personally.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I look at that whole Hulk thing. From how I understand it, it's Marvel would put in all the money, Universal would make all the money.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be feasible for Marvel at all. So there's like, oh well, but we could put him in with the other characters. All right, let's do that. That's why we're getting Planet Hulk. We're getting a Planet Hulk movie that's not called Planet Hulk. It's called Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, it is.
I'm okay with that. Mainly because
I'm down with that.
So fucking awesome. But yeah, so I mean, we've got a couple articles that list to this, and where I do think it is a dick move. What I would love, in a perfect world, Marvel would own all the all the rights to make movies to where we can just get great fucking stories from them and on the film.
Here's an unpopular opinion. I kind of like Marvel not owning the X-Men. Not to say they couldn't do amazing stuff with it. I would love love to see Wolverine with the Avengers.
Yeah.
But I kind of like, because getting the mutants involved in storylines sometimes is weird. Because mutants are hated, and no one wants no one wants mutants in the Marvel universe. But everyone loves the Avengers. What's the difference? It's kind of, I mean, yes, I know as a comic fan the difference, but it's kind of one of those things where it would be really weird and convoluted for one moment in one movie, Wolverine and Rogue are sitting there like, oh man, these people hate us. And then in the Avengers, everyone's cheering because they saved the day. It's like, wait, what? So I kind of like that they're a little bit apart at times, but stuff like the Fantastic Four would be cool to have involved more.
Oh yeah,
but I do agree. There was something mentioned about the John Hickman run, and that was the that was a great send off. I mean, some people didn't like the way Secret Wars was done, but at the same time, I think that was a great send off since they aren't around now.
Yeah,
that was sort of a good way to send them off for a while. And there is something in the chat. Hold on YouTube, maybe.
Beats saying, yeah, Beats agreeing with you. And
I was the studio thing was the thing that caught my
eye. Maybe other studios owning / making DC movies would be neat. I could possibly see that, but that would get more. DC would have, with Warner Brothers owning, like they own Legendary, they could do the whole other studios making it. But I think it would just be like, sort of like, oh, well, Miramax is making, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's still Disney, but it's just under a different, title head and stuff like that.
I think that would be something that I could see them doing maybe after their whole, like, this quote unquote experiment comes to an end. This whole shared universe. I mean, I think the universe will still be shared, but I think since... And this is a problem I have with, I'm sounding like I hate these movies, and I don't. This is a problem I have with Marvel. Some of their movies are fantastic and well done, and they can stand alone as a great movie. Other movies have to move pieces from point A to point B, so then in the next movie, they're already at point B, and you don't have to move them. And that's the problem I have with some movies, making it blatantly obvious this movie is just to move pieces across the board to get to this end goal of infinity. So that's my only problem at times with some of them. Civil War, I think, was the worst for that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It seriously had the hammer come down on that one to make it the worst. I'm really excited about Thor, but I know certain pieces have to be in place for an event that's probably going to be happening because of I got to see the leaked trailer for reasons, and I know that him and the Guardians have an interaction. So something has to happen to Thor to have him still floating around in space.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
And who knows what that could be?
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. But real quick, before we go, I want to take a second to thank you, Zenger, for popping in here and.
Oh no, thank you, man. Thank you.
And
nerd out.
That you did. And tell everyone where they can go to find you, find the things that you do. Basically what I'm saying right now is we got 3 viewers watching live. Like where do they need to go to get more of you?
All right. Where you need to go to get more of me is, if you have Twitter, you can of course follow the ZengThis podcast, and that would be at ZengThis. You can also basically search for us on any podcatchers with that. And you can also go to www.zengthis.com, and that will redirect you to where we have most of our stuff on Podbean, or you can just search for us on iTunes. We're basically, every Monday, me and Ellie discuss nerdy topics. We also do a thing called Read This, where we pick a graphic novel, which for this month it is Spider-Man Blue.
Ooh,
so we are doing that one this month. And we basically pick a comic, tell everyone to read it, and then we do a breakdown of it. We sometimes do movies, and we're also doing a year-long celebration to Star Wars. So look forward to our review and discussion on Empire Strikes Back coming out later this month.
All right, and that is ZengThis.com for the podcast stuff.
And it will reroute you to where you need to be. or just go on
Yes.
iTunes and search for it.
Exactly. You got new follower, at least on one of the accounts. I'll probably do the ElseNerds one too. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm doing all three of the accounts. I've got access to three accounts. I'm drunk with power. You got 3 new followers coming up. So the final thing to be said before we go is, if you want to give us feedback, I welcome feedback. I encourage feedback. Please send us feedback. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can email us, mail@elsenerds.com, or you can call us at 805-328-3966 and leave us a voicemail. All of these subscription options, you know where to find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever. You can find all that stuff over at gncasts.com/subscribe. And you can find, that's also where you can find all of our social network stuff, is just going to insert the name of the social network /Galactic Netcasts. And then also you can follow the show on Twitter at ElseNerds. You can follow our producers. Beatmaster is at Beatmaster80. Evan is at Mr_Fusion. I'm at that Gregor. Sean Burns, who's been our summer host with the most, or as I like to call him, Alternative Corey, is at SBurnsPA, and you can find Corey's work over at don'taskcomics.com. And the final thing to be said is, this has been a Don't Tell Glenn production. We'll see you next week.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.
Pickle Rick. Pickle Rick.
I'm not
Pickle Rick.
Excuse me.